Thought I'd make a video just to talk about kind of what's going on. I feel like venting and kind of what's going on a few days before my birthday. Obviously, my father who passed away many years ago, who spoke to the president, and y'all know the story. So anyway, decided that, I don't ever really make any food. Most of the stuff is really simple. I really don't know how to cook. But I like nutrition, and makes me feel good when I eat very healthy food. And that's how I feel contentful about the taste of the food in nearly all cases. So I decided to make I'm going to go ahead and make a black bean soup. Why? Because, probably need to clear some of this racism and all this other stuff. And, what the heck, just make some black bean soup. I grew up eating beans all the time. But this is a black bean soup, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and make a black bean soup. Some onions, sweet onions, leeks, all these other ingredients, and make an actual dish. And I saw this Italian guy, which I'm very familiar with. I used to watch his TV show. I grew up with very few TV channels growing up, so we were very limited to what was available to watch on TV. And one of the things that was pretty frequent was cooking channels, which was the KERA TV show, which had various different types of programs. And anyway, I didn't really do very much time looking to see what recipe I was going to make. I just felt like I'm going to try a recipe because it's usually very expensive. If I go to Market 32, or if I go, Walmart didn't have a lot of the fresh vegetables, but if I go to Market 32 or what was the other store? I don't remember the other store's name, but I'm able to get some fresh vegetables, and some vegetables that you really don't find too much even in the domestic vegetable aisles. So then that way I can make recipes, but they're usually very expensive. You have to usually have a lot of money, so it's cheaper for me to buy canned food like oatmeal, tuna, and then buy frozen fruits and stuff like that, where the nutrition and health is much more better, and I get to get more food, and then much more sort of other comfort food, which I don't ever do, but today I did. I got some like goldfish I don't ever eat. I know potato chips and stuff I don't ever eat. So, it's good to get some comfort food, but I figured I'd make a dish to eat, and I was going to fix up this recipe. And I was like, well, maybe I'm just going to make something myself to eat on January 6th, but my January 6th is not until 3 days, and I don't want the food to get any less flavorful, so I'm going to just, do a prep meal, and probably go out to eat. I'll probably go to the restaurant or something like I always did, just, Mexican or Chinese restaurant, whatever it may be, and go out there and just get something to eat, basically. Hopefully it's going to be contentful. A lot of the times they do things in my food, or I'm very unwelcomed, or something makes me get up and leave. But anyway, at least I try. If not, I just come and make myself something else to eat easy, and it's just another day. Just like, no big deal. But anyway, I thought I'd make these black bean soup, and make this recipe, and one of the things that was really bothering me, I did notice, I don't know if Raquel had, a miscarriage when I was with this girl. I don't think she did, because I think I would have heard about it. Somebody would have told me. But, I don't know the story to a lot of situations, and it's pretty traumatizing to me, to hear that if I would have had a miscarriage with Raquel, and, she's black, and, this is very graphic for those that can hear this. I never ejaculated inside of her on purpose. Never. I was very, very careful, because I did not want to have a child, and it wasn't obviously it's sex, but it wasn't. I was too young. I did not want to have a child, and I was thinking more of my future, and I was thinking also of my mother, and I was also, thinking, it's just too young for me. But, I don't know, everybody knows, that doesn't have to happen in order for a girl to get pregnant. So, I don't know if that could have been the case, and that's being saved for me. But when I walk into Market 32 and I see this little coffin that's dressed all in black, and I'm thinking great, this is a sign that Raquel had an abortion, or not. I don't think she didn't have an abortion. That's 100%. I know that she wouldn't have done. I know 100% she wouldn't have done anything like that. But a miscarriage, at that time I was sort of dwindling down off drugs. I wasn't doing drugs. Is hard, but it was still in existence. Is not to say that that something like that could have happened, because that's kind of around the time that when I was doing symptoms of plastic anemia. So I thought, when I'm walking in there and I'm like, they're just do all these psychological things, and I try not to pay attention because you get caught up in too much detail and they start making assumptions and premeditative ideas that I really don't know. But it gets upsetting, because then I start thinking to myself, because I know there's all this psychological shit and they shoot these electronic device, and it feels like what method they're going to use to dispose of this if this is the fact. But is to milk the emotion as much as they can for a profitable gain for the movement of what they want. And if I didn't think this, my dead sister was a problem, finding out so many years later, who's to say that I didn't have an abortion of a child? So I think it's worth discussing over a video. I never wanted to have a child with her, and I wasn't particularly planning to have a mixed child, with a black girl, and being so young, and it's not, I'm playing racist, but I know it sounds, but it was something that, I never would have slept with a black girl naturally. I would have, would have slept with a white girl in a heartbeat, but like I said, but I think it's important for me to talk about, obviously so many years later, and it doesn't matter because it's going to be all used up, that if they're willing to do the extremities to me with my dead sister and everything that happened, then they're willing to do it if there was a miscarriage. And I don't know if that's a fact. And I walk outside and I start looking at objects and I start looking at things, the Ken Cooper lookalikes, and the Sarah Cooper looks like dressed up in a costume, in a fat costume. I become then it doesn't change the fact that even though how I feel about my own ethnicity and others, if there was a miscarriage, there is no departing from that. I don't feel any departing from that, because that was, if that could have happened, and to anybody, some people don't really give a shit, but for me it would be pretty emotionally painful and distraughting, because a piece of life that came from me that I contributed to with this partner, with this girl, and I don't know if that happened, and nobody ever told me, and therefore it goes down the line again with me thinking how many other people knew about this, because if I didn't know and other people knew, more reason people to hate me. And one of the other reasons I'm starting to think this is because right before I got raped by the transgender, I'm living with Barbara, and there's a black guy with a uniform, and I thought, and she had him in a frame like I had this Mother Teresa, and I really didn't think of it. I just must be a black guy, must get with one of these white women or something, got married or had kids. And she pointed over to the picture, and she says, he goes, oh yeah, that's, and then was looking over at me, sizing me up. And this is how this person is already engaging about my mother, Frankie, the rape that happened, Diana, Miguel, willing to engage in a slap. So this person is very confrontational, takes ownership. And Sarah, it doesn't change the fact that that is why they are doing it. And when this person does this, who's to say that they know maybe an a miscarriage happened, and then they're engaging at me because they're already confronting me as an enemy. They're already behaving me as a perpetrator. So that's what I do know about life, is that's what's happening in that house. This is what this person is doing. This is what all these other people are doing. So this would give them more reason to say, oh, no, you don't know what's going on. You had a baby with a black look. I'm not racist. This is what you're going to get. You see? Sarah Cooper does it again. Oh, I'm Sarah Cooper, Barbara. So this is how they're going to start behaving. And that's exactly what they did. So I don't know if that's how the person, because when the person pointed over at the photo, or like slightly pointed, you don't just have your home and talk to a person and invite them in your house and go, oh yeah, that's his mother, yeah, that's just photo there. Like, you're trying to figure something out. That's not something else that you're trying to show. You're trying to figure out something else. So I think it's important for me to talk about, because I don't know the details of that, and I would feel pretty distraught if something like that were to happen. If I were to find out that, by the way, we forgot to tell you that, this is what these people did. And, I think it's important for me to talk about, because I don't know if that's the case. And I've never heard anything about it. And what does that change? That changes if something like that ever happened. And I can't go into conclusions, because it's happened in the past where symptoms of that was brought up to me. And I'm thinking of like PBK, architectural firm. There's a guy talking like Barack Obama, sort of attitude vibe. And then there's another kid, and there's another black guy, because I went to eat to an Indian restaurant, and there was a guy that said his daughter, or his girlfriend had a miscarriage, because Felipe, he was pregnant with his girl, and he had a blonde girl, and he got married, and he had a kid. And I remember they brought a baby carriage into the office, but it was before she got pregnant and had a baby. But something had happened, she had a miscarriage, she lost the baby. And I don't believe many of those people were architects. I think they were like detectives, and like hardcore detectives, and deal with a lot of other manifestations of the criminal world, of investigations, and figuring out this and this and this and this. That's what I kind of thought, but I don't know what the story is to this. And who's to say that did happen? I don't know. And I think it's important for me to talk about to what these circumstances is, because I don't know anything about this. If they were trying to figure out if I did or knew or not. No one has ever confronted me about any of that directly in those words. Oh, Raquel had a miscarriage. Do you know that? No one has ever done that. So, I don't know what the story to this is. So I think it's important for me to talk about. I know it sounds gruesome to most people, or whatever people want to think of morbid, but I didn't want to have a child with her. I didn't. And I didn't, I didn't. 100%, and I knew that if she wanted to, like, she would have wanted my genetics, without a doubt. Like, when we were having sex, and she wouldn't have minded if, like, some of the girls wouldn't have wanted, which I haven't even been with any other girls until after my transplant. But, other than that, I didn't want to. I didn't want to have, and it wasn't just if it would have happened, it happened, but it wasn't to be intent. I just, I always thought, because my mother had told me before to be careful. It goes, like, I knew, she gave me this look, and she looked at me and she said, and I knew exactly, it was like the mother-son thing, like, you know, be careful, wear condoms, like, I don't want you to have, she didn't say I don't want you to have a black baby, she had said that before. I just know how my mother is, and it's something that I particularly don't plan, and it's just not hateful, but, you know, when you take the small things away from a poor village lady and you start making it about yourself before people just run off and get fame, and it's the exchange really over here because it's over there, and then over there, you know, you take away everything from what that mother had ever created, because she's like, oh, you just don't fuck my son, huh? But it has nothing to do with Raquel. My mother was very nice to her, and she didn't complain, said to kick her out, didn't say any of that. But you gotta understand that that's head cracks. That's because that's Sarah and Ken Cooper's and Kenneth's excuse. Because I walked into Kenneth's house before, and he said something that that transgender looking black girl that he brought over on a Thanksgiving meal, and I saw her at his apartment like once, and he had a big box, like a coffin box, cardboard box, and he said that, he goes, oh yeah, my girl used to strip. And he goes, oh yeah, she had a kid, you know, she lost the baby or something. I'm going to say that she said that she had a kid, or had a kid and lost the baby, like a miscarriage. One of the two. But you got to see how personal and vindictive that is to what this person is doing. And that's some of the most deepest personal information, how violating that is. So, how violating that is at the highest scopes of everything, I could never express enough. And, you know, honoring my mother was more important. And it was just a sex thing. And it was social and the environment that I was in. Because other people, you know, people don't want to say it's racist, but it is. You start I started getting punked out by Michael Rosser a whole bunch, and then you just eventually sell me her and basically just have me do that. And then they put you in an environment, and Michael's like that. He's very intelligent to find out to do that at a very young age, to scare me, you know, the intimidation, fool you. Yeah, like, but getting a white girl like I had before that was the complete opposite, like Lisa, never gonna happen. Didn't like it. I talked about this so many times. Richard didn't like it. John Basile didn't. So I thought it was worth my conversation to talk about. But anyway, I was making this black bean soup, and I thought when I'm walking in this place, you know, obviously they use the manifestations of what's going on with the environment, me getting a recipe, and because I don't ever make recipes like this, it's just simple 1 pound with all those other ingredients, and it's a French guy. But anyway, this French guy, I'm pretty sure he's French. It's been a long, really time, Italian or French. I'm going to say one of the two, but I think French. And yeah, it's French. And used to watch him all the time. I know France is known for passion. France is known for the artistic, and they like their wine. So I think that was something, you know, why not? You know, make something the old man look legendary. So I figured, you know, just scroll through there, quick 8-minute video, watch the video. So I don't know the story. Like I said, I just didn't do very much search. So I figured, I want to make a black bean soup recipe. You know, racism isn't good, but in the circumstances that I am in, it's hard to describe how chaotic it is, because I'm 40 years old, and it's hard to express about the electronic devices and all these things that are going on, because I don't know how much of these people that I'm talking to actually know what's happening, or if something can fatally happen to me in my life, and it'll be at the hands of someone else, and my family won't give a fuck. They already got their money, they've already burned up the time, they're going to use IQ Genius, and then that's it. But yeah, I figured I'd make a recipe, make a meal, probably wait another hour or two, start on the recipe, and probably make some other bean recipes. But I have to be more efficient on my money. It's very difficult because just these vegetables and meal to make this meal is $40. $40 just to make this meal. So I got about $25, $30 left on my food stamp card to last week to the end of the month, and I haven't even got juices yet or hardly any canned food. So, figured I'd go ahead and make a meal. It's very seems like it's very expensive to even make a meal. Like if you make a full course meal, seems like I used to always believe it's very much less inexpensive because you have to do the work. And I guess this day and age, I don't know what it was during my mother's time in life, is that's kind of how it goes, and that's what happens, is, the evolution of time. But it seems like it's much more if I were to make meals, I don't know anything about cooking, and it's pretty strenuous at times, but it's kind of fun. I can kind of find it entertaining and fun at times, but like I said, anyway, thought I'd make a video and kind of my thoughts, and I'm getting really bothered because they start setting up Ken Cooper's, he's the owner of American, World War II veteran, and one of the things that really pissed me off is when I first started heading over to Ken Cooper and Sarah Cooper's house in Oklahoma. Frankie, me, and Julian were all together. We go meet up at a restaurant before anything else, and we go to a Mexican restaurant. And when we get there, Ken Cooper, you know what he orders? I'm gonna say he got enchiladas. I think he got enchiladas. And I think it's important to say those types of things, because someone who thinks that they're a detective in those strenuous ways toward my father and mother, you got to understand that me, Frankie, or Julian, we're not bonded to them like we're family members, but they're working their game plan, and it doesn't change the fact that my mother has no idea how bad she's being mutilated. And that falls on me. They know what the fuck they're doing. They know that they don't have to send these people that keep looking like Sarah Cooper, pissing me off, because you want to justify it because of all the years and things that they did, and you don't give a fuck because you disposed of my fucking life. And then you just gave my mother and shoved your dick in my mother's fucking mouth, and then you just laughed it off, and that's what you did. And there's nothing that I can do about it. I have to accept this type of shit. And that's very difficult because that person who she was, and Frankie being raped the fuck out of, and you want to feel sorry for filthy pigs. They're old and shit, and they just want to shit out again, and that's all they did. And it's very difficult because none of this could be happening, the horrors that is happening, unless the president is doing this shit. And the psychologists are very dark people. None of this should be happening. And that's why they're just abusing the shit. If it wasn't this dead body, little kid, now it could be this miscarriage of a child that I don't even know about. And that makes there's not a separation to think that there could have been a miscarriage and I don't know, and you're trying to give me some sort of surprise and then use that like you used the dead little girl. If that one was flopping up and down, a sister of mine up on stage like that, then what are you going to do to me? What are you going to do to Michaela? But this one now, okay, well, we'll just say that token for keynote. And that's exactly what happened. And that's one of the most violating things. And they're going to try to clean it up. They're going to change the emotions and all this other shit. I'm eating the shit at these people's at their houses. In fact, when I was at Patrick's house, this guy told me, I don't know if he did, but he goes, yeah, you know that girl over there? Yeah, she had a miscarriage. Yeah. And she was a black girl in worked at a nursing home and worked like 2 different jobs. And this is the guy that stole my money, kicked me out, and then his twin started threatening me, saying, no, I'm your daddy, bitch. I'm your fucking daddy, bitch. And I'm calling my uncle for like crying and shit. What do I do? What the fuck's going on? What are these people talking? Oh, but it's about Ken Cooper, huh? Is that your mascot? Well, they're going to act on that mascot, and it doesn't change that was my life. This is what the pig and these pigs are fucking doing. And then they're going to... It doesn't change that that's their white power in that White House, and they know how to shut the keys off. They know how to shut the doors, but they're not going to do it to the detective. They're not going to do it because so little observation is to those types of people, because they're given the credit to just trust them. And the time's gone. Frankie got ripped open. Happened to me a couple times. It doesn't matter. That money was worth buying Frankie's rectum, blood all over the fucking house. Oh, just World Trade Center collapse. We gave you, you're an immigrant. Oh, it's just, oh, White does it again for the mascot. Now this one, White wants to clean it up real good, because then it's just going to clean up real good right over there, because that's what you see. That's what you physically see. That's what you, but it doesn't change those types of things. That's, once again, here's a dead table, and they dismember this pieces of the body and whatever they want, and just take pieces of it. And there will be never justice for that. If I didn't think my mother's dealing with that, then good way to then trap me and force me to be with a black girl, because that's what the big problem was, is that I was always being sold and being profited in that particular situation. I was watching this happen with my mother. My dad didn't want my mother prostituting and all this other shit, and they didn't even care. They did it to me. And then it was time for 50 Cent, and it was time for Dr. Dre to go hip hop, have a good time, and they don't care. Like my mom's gonna die, and they didn't give a fuck. They just gave all the treasures to the twins and all this other shit. And then I watch TV, and every single celebrity is not on my. You maybe got 3% of this, 2% of these celebrities, and they're all heterosexual women. They're even going to give a fuck. There's too many problems in the world. There's too many problems in the U.S. There's too many problems, all of this stuff that's going on. They don't care. This was a cakewalk for the Cooper family, and if Kenneth had used it, they're going to use that excuse as well to then get you a black girl, and then you sell your ass again. Your time ran out. I get what I want. 50 Cent hip-hop, Kev Crag, you see, clean it up. They're getting a record deal and everything. I'm putting my hands nearly in trash cans to eat for food. So, there ain't nothing I can do about that. But, I don't know. I figure I'd make a black bean soup and make a recipe and enjoy the meals. Don't know if I'll be able to go eat comfortably or not. Probably won't drink. I don't think I will, but I don't know. Hopefully, it's just like another day,